Welcome to your Vote Your Power 2022 session. My name is Rodrigue Makelele. I am the community organizer with Church World Service based in Harrisonburg, Virginia. I am joined today by my friends Myra Dagipol, the Refugee Congress delegate for Virginia, and Nasser Al-Sadoun, the community leader and educator based in Harrisonburg also, and Farah Barzanji, who is a community leader and educator also based in Harrisonburg. All of them are refugee community leaders in Virginia and also members of the Virginia's Immigrant Voices. They're joining us today to discuss the elections in Virginia. So, for you're watching live now and later, I'm so glad that you decided to join us on this training. So, before we get started, we are going to go over some logistics, housekeeping. Every time that you have a question, a comment, or concern that you want to say to the presenters, just drop it on the comment section either on YouTube or Facebook, and we'll be able to respond to them as they come in. So uh, today's presentation is gonna be about uh, training as voters in Virginia and know what we want to know about these upcoming elections. So we'll be understanding on, be learning about how and why it's important to vote. Learn about the various elections that you can vote in locally, at the state level, and the federal elections. Also, the important dates for the 2022 elections here in the Virginia, and how to vote safely during this pandemic. So next is an important note before getting to the training itself. We want to make sure that everyone understand that the information we're providing is not advice. It is not advice to choose particular candidates. So, as a nonprofit organization, we cannot endorse any candidate, but we can give you information about how to make your own informed decision about candidate. So, the information contained in this presentation is meant to educate you about civic engagement, your rights and responsibility. It is also meant to provide information and prepare people for voting process. I will now pass it on to Myra.
Thank you. Well, I want us to take a minute and ask yourself these questions. Why did I choose to become a citizen? And what are the benefits of being a citizen for me? If you're live on Facebook and YouTube, can you please type your answers on the comment section? And for now, I'd like to share 7 very important benefits. Start off with one. You have the privilege to vote and accomplish your civic duty as a US citizens. And also, only US citizens have the opportunity to elect their leaders they believe will best represent them, their families, and their community. That'll allow you to obtain the passport that you can travel, uh, and you will have all the rights and privileges like every other US citizens. As a US citizens, you can also file for petition with the government to reunite with your family members. And by becoming the US citizens, it'll also protect you and your children from deportation. And your children under the age of 18 who are lawful permanent residents automatically will become US citizens when parents are naturalized. And also, upon naturalizing, you'll gain full access to certain government benefits programs like federal college assistance, scholarships, and grants that are available only to the US citizens. And only in the United States citizens may vote. So, naturalized US citizens can also run for office. Not all, for example, becoming a naturalized US citizens cannot run for president of the United States because they are not naturally born citizens of the United States, but their children who were born in the US can run for president. And also another very important point is that most federal employment is reserved for only the U.S. citizens. So if you are a citizen, yes, that's for you. We all have different reasons why we become the U.S. citizens. But what if I tell you that there is one reason listed that can wipe out or impact all the benefits of the citizenships we just listed? With that, in the next slide, I will let Rodrigue help us solve this equation.
All right, thank you. And as we heard about all these benefits of becoming a U.S. citizen, there is a formula: 7 minus 1 equals what? We say it's equals 0, because if any of these benefits is withdrawn from you, then you're not fulfilling or enjoying all the benefits of being a U.S. citizen. So as we move forward, we have to understand that our voting is a decision that we make to place people that will be making most of this decision about our lives and our future. So those who vote, we vote into office, like lawmakers in Congress or the VA General Assembly, and judges can play an important role in determining whether naturalized citizens enjoy these benefits or not. Laws are made and upheld by these people, and they can change it at any given time. But the number one benefit vote listed can ensure that all other benefits of citizenship we enjoy are secured. That is why all 7 benefits listed become under that threat without the power of your vote. Now I'm going to pass it on to Farah.
Thank you, Rodrigue. The right of voting that we all enjoy today. Imagine being a former refugee and immigrant and being able to vote in the United States of America. It's a dream come true for many of us, but many people paid with their lives and risk all that they have in order to get us that responsibility today. Let us watch how this developed in this video.
Hello, I'm Perez Hilton. Did you know that more people in the United States check their Facebook and watch the Super Bowl than exercise their right to vote? We've got some serious issues to deal with. So how come so many of us don't even bother to vote? Is it because we don't care? Or maybe it's because we don't know our history.
So let's go back, way back. Our country's first election came after fighting for our independence, a fight that cost many lives, but it was worth it because instead of being ruled by a king, we were finally able to make our own laws.
But not everybody was allowed to participate. You see, back then, you had to own property, be white, and a man in order to actually vote. Now, things continued that way for about 80 years, until after the Civil War, when slavery was abolished and all men were given the right to vote.
Now hold up a minute. Just because we had the right to vote didn't mean we could use it. See, all these new voters wanted to participate, which threatened the people in power and their ability to stay in power. So they tried to stop us with violence and shady new requirements like literacy tests and poll taxes. We had to fight for nearly 100 years before the Voting Rights Act passed, which finally outlawed these dirty tricks.
And you weren't the only ones that had to fight for your right to vote. Somehow women got left out and had to organize and fight state by state. Until we took our fight to Washington and finally got our right to vote all across the country. And even once the laws guaranteed every person the ability to vote, you still had to be 21 in most states. So when our government began drafting people under 21 to go fight in Vietnam, they realized their lives were at stake and they had no say. Young people all across the country rose up in protest and demanded that everyone over 18 should be allowed to vote.
And since then, young people's votes have been crucial in deciding lots of big elections. Like in 2008, when a black candidate had a real chance to become president, young people showed up in record numbers. And every year, we make up a larger share of the voting population, giving young people more power, but only if we participate.
So let me break it down. Together, there is so much we can decide, like whether or not we should go to war, or how we spend our money, and how we power our lives.
We can determine who has the right to marry, and who has the right to choose, what possessions should be outlawed, and whether or not we should legalize.
It's up to you to make your choices and shape our future. If we sit on the sidelines, then others will make it work for them instead of us. So let's make our voices heard.
So what would it take for you to vote?
Oh, thanks God, I live in this era. Amazing video, amazing facts. Voting is privilege in the United States. You get to take your ballot into a private area and vote. It's also safe because no one is going to attack you for your voting or for the particular voter candidate. With voting, you also have the freedom to disagree with elected officials and to be able to elect policymakers that care about issues that directly impact us. As immigrant and former refugee, not many of us have the money to support candidates. We can't give the thousands of dollars, of course, to support their campaign so that they can support our issues. But we do have the power of our vote to elect decision makers and politicians that care about our issues or remove those that do not care about our issue. That's why it's incredibly important for us to vote. Now I'm passing it to Nasser.
Have the power of their number to make the change they want with the power of their votes. Virginia has a sizable immigrant community, making up 13% of the state's total population. 1 in 8 Virginia residents is an immigrant, while 1 in 9 residents is a native-born U.S. citizen with at least one immigrant parent. In 2018, 1.1 million immigrants, foreign-born individuals, comprised 13% of the population. In 2008, 939 718 people, 718,000 people in Virginia, 11% of the state's population, were native-born Americans who had at least one immigrant parent. More than half of all immigrants in Virginia are naturalized U.S. citizens. As of 2008, 573,998 immigrants, which is 54%, had naturalized, and 164,253 immigrants were eligible to become naturalized U.S. citizens in 2017. This shows that we have the voting power to elect someone that cares about our issues. But oftentimes we think our votes do not matter. Here's why it matters. I pass it to Rodrigo.
Yeah, so do you think your vote really matters? That's an important question. So if you're watching live now, you can please share your answer in the comment section and on Facebook or YouTube. And I want to share this video with you Although he talks about Tennessee, a similar situation has happened here in Virginia as well.
When people talk about elections, you might think,
my vote won't make a difference.
Government doesn't impact my life.
Voting is too complicated.
My vote doesn't matter.
Well, this is Kix Brooks, and I'm here to tell you why your vote matters. You probably heard people say it's your civic duty or exercise your rights. But what does that actually mean? Well, according to the Tennessee Constitution, all power is inherent in the people. That means the power is in your hands, especially when it comes to choosing your elected officials, which is important because your elected officials make really big decisions. For example, on the federal level, you elect your president, senators, and congressmen. They influence issues like foreign policy and the national debt. On the state level, you elect people such as governors, state senators, and state representatives. They make important decisions about transportation and economic development. On the local level, you elect the mayor, sheriff, judges, and school board members who make decisions about schools and public safety. All of these issues and many more are important, and they use taxpayer dollars. These issues affect your life every day. But will your one vote even make a difference? Most people know about the close presidential election in 2000 between Al Gore and George W. Bush. Florida ultimately decided the entire election by 537 votes. That's less than one vote per precinct. In recent years, Tennessee may not have been a swing state, but we still have close elections locally. In a race for the state house, the margin of victory was only 4 votes. And in a county judge's race, the vote was tied. So yes, even a single vote can change the outcome of an election.
So after watching the video, do you really think that your vote matters? A lot of people believe that their vote doesn't matter or it isn't even actually counted. But as we just saw in the video, your vote does matter and can determine close elections. So there are a lot of decisions that are made by elected officials that we don't always agree with, and we can complain about them. But if we don't vote, we shouldn't complain because our vote is our voice, and there is power in that. If you don't vote, again, someone will vote for them. And not voting isn't an option in a lot of cases. Even if our candidate doesn't win, it's okay, but at least we got our message across. So the truth is, elections have been decided by one vote or precinct, and a single vote can change the outcome of an election. In 2017, a Democrat won the Virginia House seat in a recount by one single vote. So now that we've seen why it's important for us to vote and how our vote matters, let's get ready to vote. I'm going to pass it on to Myra to talk more about how we should get ready to vote.
Thank you. So first, for us to be able to vote, we have to be registered. And November 17 was the last day to register to vote in the state of Virginia. But there is still an opportunity to register and vote on the same day during the early voting period. But let me ask, how do you make sure that you are registered and ready to vote? Well, normally after your naturalization, you should be receiving a voter card in your mail. If you didn't, you can always check with the county's Board of Election voter. And the county, their website is vote.elections.virginia.gov. There you will find a list of contacts depending on where you live in Virginia. And and also here, one moment. Okay. I'm trying to get the link out, but yeah, I can't really click on it at this moment. So sorry. Another thing that you also probably want to know is who your candidates are. And you can also go to the link, which is www.vote411.org. That's where you find the list of the candidates. And if you want to know who are your candidate, the sample ballot, and the voter guide, you can also go to www.elections.gov/casting-a-ballot/candidate list. Sorry if I messed up, but you can always get this link from us if you need. Please put it in the chat. So Virginia requires voter to provide an acceptable form of identification when voting in person, or to also sign an ID confirmation statements. So now that you have confirmed your voter registration, let's talk about how you can exercise your responsibility as a citizen by voting. So in the state of Virginia, there are 3 ways to vote. And firstly, we're going to kick out with early voting. As we all know, many of our families work different hours to support ourselves and our families, and therefore early voting allows us to exercise our rights at the time that is very convenient for us. And also early voting is the best choice because you will have the locations where you can go to vote, and some of those locations may be very close to your home. And you will spend less time standing up in the line, and this also will increase the number of immigrants coming out to vote. And that will also, we also know that our power is in the numbers of who's coming to vote. And the best part is that it's also the best time for families and friends to come together and vote. And another benefit for early voting is that anyone who forget to register, you can still register on the spot and cast your vote at the same time. You can vote early at your local registrar's office beginning 40 days before the election day, which was September 23rd, and then ending the Saturday before the election day, which will be November 5th. So we have no excuse to go out and vote. And everyone who joined us live, do you have any question? If you do, can you please put your question in the chat box? And with that, I'll pass it to Farah to share with us about some early voting locations.
So, Myra, I am going tomorrow. We can't show you all the early votes locations all over the Virginia, of course, but we have an example here. If you live in Fairfax County, here is a list where you can vote early. The second option for registered voters is to vote by mail. If you are unable to vote in person, this requires us to send a request for a ballot to the Virginia Department of Elections, receive a ballot in the mail, select our candidates on the ballot, and then send it back through the mail. You do not need a reason to ask for absentee ballot. Based on our experience, it is best to avoid using this method, except if you do not have any other choice. Remember, to complete and return your ballot to your local general registrar office by 7 p.m. on election day. You need to apply online to vote by mail. All paper absentee applications form can be found on the Virginia Department of Elections. We have the former forms page. The key deadline here to request an absentee ballot. Request for postal ballot has to be done by Friday, October 28th, 2022. So it's next Friday, and by 5 p.m. The deadline to return completed absentee ballot, if in person, it has to be received by Tuesday, November 8, 2022 by 7 p.m. If you are sending it back by mail, it has to be posted on November 8, 2022. So act now. The third option is to vote in person on election day. November 8th is the election day across the United States of America. Don't let anyone tell you that it's November 9th. On this day, the only option you have to vote is to vote at the address listed on your voter registration card, which is your designated polling place. Polling places are open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. on the election day, of course. Anyone in line at 7 p.m. will be allowed to vote. You need to show your acceptable form of ID or signed ID verification statements to vote to cast your vote. A voter who arrives at the polling place without an acceptable form of identification or who refuses to sign the ID confirmation statement will be given the opportunity to vote like a provisional ballot. Please note that the copy of the ID or signed ID confirmation statement must be delivered to the Electoral Board by noon on the Friday following the election, or the provisional ballot cannot be counted. They will ask for your name. You will give them your name and confirm your address. You will go into the booth with a ballot and select your candidate. On election day, the line may be longer than usual due to everyone coming out to cast their vote. Since it is the last day, the last chance, this is why early voting is the best choice. If you are in line at 7:30 p.m., you should be allowed to still cast your vote. Remember, it's your right to vote. If you have any question, please put it as a comment. And if not, I will pass it to Nasser again. Thank you.
Thank you, Farah. Well, we heard a great information actually, and let me ask you a question before we proceed. Who has voted in the U.S. before? By show of hands, any? Well, I wish I could see your hands, but please share that in the comment section. How did it feel going in the first time, and how did it feel afterward? Voting is an intimidating practice for many of us, including American-born citizens. It is very important for some of us that are more comfortable and who know how to navigate the system to guide those who are voting for the first time and who are not familiar with the process. We can go along with someone to help them cast their vote. We can help interpret for them if they are not fluent or comfortable speaking English, or if they have any kind of disability or unable to read and write. One of the ways to mobilize and inspire others to vote, particularly those who are nervous or unsure, is that to share our reasons and our stories of why we are voting. One of our newest Americans who is voting in this election chose to do that by doing a video and sharing a quote on social media to encourage others like her to go out and cast their votes. We want to encourage others to do the same. If you would like to do that, we can do a 15-second video of why you are voting in this election. It will be short, simple, and inspirational. All you have to do is share your name, your city, of why you are voting. You should be voting for your community, for your family, or yourself. Here's an example of Duha's video.
My name is Doha Al-Taki. I'm originally from Syria. I arrived to the United States in 2016. CWS, they helped me to resettle in American Greensboro. I came with my husband. So I feel okay because I receive a lot of support from CWS. Now I need to return this back to the community. So I am a case manager now with permanent position. I love my work, working with refugees. I start to help clients to adjust their life in the United States and also to give them a lot of information about my experience. We start to help them to apply for many services like food stamp, Medicaid, enroll them in English school and also for children's school, schedule appointment for doctor. We do a lot of orientation with them and also at the same time we help them to meet the employment team, so to get more information about the job. So the goal in the future to be self-sufficient. Self-sufficient, it means they are able to support themselves and their family without any cash assistance. And also they are eligible to receive services from CWS until 5 years, up to 5 years, and until to apply for the citizenship. That's what I did. Because I get my citizenship only on January 26. I am American. I love work with refugee and also I am a refugee. So I am an example for these people. So I just keep telling them, look at me, where I am now in this position. You will be in the future maybe in position better than me. They'll have a lot of skills. And I hope all people, they want to just to meet the refugee to get more information about this community. Not Syrian or Sudanese or Somalian or Eritrean or Afghani. No. All of them. When they come here, really, they bring their experience and their skills with them.
Share in the chat if you would love to inspire your community to go out and vote. I'm passing it to Myra now.
Thank you. Okay, now that we know how you can vote in Virginia, it would be good for us to know who are candidates, and then you will be, who are the candidates you will be choosing from. We will be voting between the two main parties in the US, which are the Democrats and the Republicans. So the Democrat is like former President Obama and Bill Clinton, whereas Republican is former President Trump or President Bush. And in this election, we will be choosing elected officials who will be representing us at the federal level, at Washington, D.C. We will be also voting for the senator who will represent all of the citizens in the state, and we will also be voting for a member of the House of Representatives. And the senators and the congressmen, in this case also congresswomen, work on issues like healthcare, Social Security, foreign policy, taxes, environment, military, immigration, national debt, and also national security. Even though we do not vote for Supreme Court justice, it is also very important that it is very important for us to highlight it, because our vote for the senators affects who is appointed to the Supreme Court when the situation arises. And with that, please allow me to pass it back to Farah.
Thank you, Myra. At the state level, we will be voting for one special election to fill a vacant seat for the 89th district in the Virginia General Assembly. Sorry. At the state level, the governor, senators, and representatives work on issues like education, transportation, parks, taxes, criminal justice, healthcare, tourism, and economic development. They are based in Richmond at the Virginia Capitol or General Assembly. How vacancies are filled in Virginia. If there is a vacancy in the Virginia General Assembly, a special election must be conducted to fill the vacant seat. If the vacancy occurs while the legislators is in the session, the presenting officer of the House in which the vacancy happens must call for a special election. If the vacancy occurs while the legislators are in the recess, the governor shall call the special. Lastly, at the county level, we will be voting for school boards, municipal government, and recalls. Local officials have the most direct impact on your life. Their decisions influence public safety and courtroom justice, tax fairness, development near your home, job opportunities, affordable housing, school discipline and graduation rate, and county health services. Amazing jobs. In Virginia, we have a recall in Virginia Beach, a Virginia Beach City Public Schools recall, Lundy County, Arlington County, and Fairfax County. School boards members are the one who hire the superintendent and oversee schools finance, students placement, school policies and curriculum choices, choice that for the curriculum. We will be voting for Chesapeake Public Schools, London County Public Schools, Norfolk Public Schools, and Virginia Beach Public Schools. I'm passing it now to you, Radri.
All right. Now that you should be well equipped and you have the tools needed to make an informed decision to cast your vote this year, now we can take some time to look at your sample ballot so that you know what to expect when you go to vote. So once you get to your polling station or polling place, you will receive a ballot that looks like the one here on the screen. And on the top of the ballot, you will see how you should complete and fill in the circles with the black pen. The ballot will be split for you by federal offices to state offices and county offices. So under each seat you are voting for, it will tell you how many candidates you can select, and for each of these seats, you may only choose one. So you can also take a print out of your sample ballot with you to the polling station with your candidate already selected. So to wrap up, here are some key takeaways from this workshop that we hope you remember as we get ready to vote. Election day will be November 8th, not November 7th or November 9th. It is Tuesday, November 8th, which is the magical date that you have to remember moving forward. Early voting will last for 45 days in Virginia, from September the 23rd to Saturday before Election Day, or November the 5th. Remember to encourage your community to get out and vote. Carpool if necessary. Call them to remind them to vote if possible. We need to make sure that our voices count on the upcoming elections. So if you know more about information on elections, and your community members, some of them do not know or do not understand any of these information, please share as much as possible, by also encouraging them to go out and vote, because your vote counts. And that's our presentation for today. We hope it was informative, and it will help you know all you need to vote in Virginia. We want to open up the floor for any questions that folks have on anything we talked about today. You can also type in your comments on video below, and we'll be able to answer them as they come to us. Thanks for watching this presentation, and thanks for all the presenters and friends who have helped this happen in the back end, the front end. And we ask that you share with us and your network everything that you learn from this training, so that many people benefit from this information. And if you have any need for contact, you can reach out to me at rmakelele.cwsglobal.org, or you can call my phone number at 916-833-2312, and we could discuss about more about any questions that you can have. If you leave any comment under these videos, either on Facebook or YouTube, we'll still be able to come back and respond to your questions as much as possible. And we hope that your vote is going to be counted this year. And thanks for being there, and thanks guys for helping with the presentation. Yeah.